Hello, and welcome to my first constructed Magic the Gathering Online post-play analysis video. Here in this video, I will be playing in a standard queue, heads up against one opponent, and I'll be doing video commentary after the fact. Most draft videos of the sort I've done in the moment, so here we go. Let's see. First turn, I play a mountain. My hand has a Lightning Bolt, Call to Mind, Pyromancer Ascension, and Sea Beyond. My opponent starts off with a Llanowar Elf, which at end of turn, I Lightning Bolt. I draw a card for the turn. I draw Preordain. My plan for this match is going to be to play a Pyromancer Ascension out as quick as possible and get it online to try and race his all-in aggro strategy of what looks to be an Elf Aggro deck. Although you can't assume that with just saying Llanowar Elf, but that's pretty much the only deck that card shows up in these days. So I go ahead and play Sea Beyond. My opponent untaps, plays the Sylvan Ranger, and ends his turn. I untap, I Preordain, scrying Foresee to the top and the other card to the bottom, and I play down my Pyromancer Ascension. So my plan's going okay so far. I don't have any more removal in hand, which is unfortunate. That first turn Lightning Bolt on the Llanowar Elf may have been incorrect, but I think it's okay. The goal of the early game is to just try and get to the mid game. He plays Elvish Archdruid, which makes me regret not Lightning Bolting, or makes me regret Lightning Bolting the Llanowar Elf, but all things considered, I think it's okay. It's not his most explosive start. I draw another land and tap out to play Foresee. This card is really the powerhouse in this deck. You scry 4 cards, you draw 2, you can see up to 6 cards at a time. That is insane. And I scry into a pretty good one, 2 Preordains, which if you notice combining with the Preordain in my graveyard will turn Pyromancer Ascension online next turn if the turn goes that way. So he plays out an Arbor Elf, another Arbor Elf, make me really wish I had Pyroclasm main deck. And let's see, he makes 4 green, 5 green in his pool for a Jaraga Warcaller multi-kicker of 2, giving all his elves +2/+2 from the Warcaller and +1/+1 from the Elvish Archdruid. His team is now massive. I untap. My plan here has to be to Preordain twice, and to scry into something ridiculous like double Lightning Bolt to take out both of his lords. Otherwise, at 14 life, I'm going to be over on this turn. Part A of the plan goes okay. I scry away a Jace Beleren and keep Burst Lightning in my hand. Second Preordain triggers Pyromancer Ascension, gets it online, and I scry away to get to a mountain. Unfortunate. Play the mountain, and I'm going to go ahead and Burst Lightning his Jaraga Warcaller on my turn. I don't want to give him a chance to add extra mana with his elf. I think this is lethal if I don't kill the Warcaller. But my chances aren't looking very good here. I'm drawing very slim, if not dead, here without Pyroclasm in the main deck. But I will do it anyways and see where that goes. Now, I'm very clearly not in a good spot here. He's left with 2 Arbor Elves, his 1/1 Elf, and the Elvish Archdruid. A total power of 7 on the board, but he has access to about 1,000,000 mana here. And let's see what he does. He plays out Azuri, Renegade Leader, and that is basically going to be game no matter what. It already was, let's be honest. I'll take this time to go ahead and apologize for the formatting. Actually, it looks like I just conceded there. So here's how I like to sideboard. I always sort by card name. Well, you can't see the sideboard. There's also 3 Pyroclasm, a Burst Lightning, or it looks like I already add them in there. Okay. For some reason, iMovie has chopped off the top and bottom of the video without my permission, and I can't figure out how to get it back, so you're going to have to hopefully watch this anyway. It looks like I boarded out a couple of Mana Leaks, a couple of Deprive. I made room for Pyroclasm and Burst Lightning. And I'm playing first this game. I go ahead and I think I keep this hand. It's a pretty good hand. Turn 1, I lead with Halimar Depths. You'll notice if you watch more of these videos that I don't like turn 1 Preordain, and I think that it is usually a mistake to cast Preordain turn 1, especially game 1, because you simply don't know what you need. If you're casting Preordained Blind and it pulls up with an Into the Royal and a Burst Lightning, what do you pick against a complete unknown deck? Whereas if you cast it on a third or fourth turn, you're usually not giving up too much because it's just one blue. Here, my opponent leads with Droga Tree Speaker, which is one of my favorite cards to play against. I go ahead and Preordain, get myself to a Burst Lightning, and go ahead and try and pseudo Time Walk him. Of course, it's not a true Time Walk because he gets to draw a card, play a land, but hopefully he's just going to level him up, and he does. And I go ahead and Burst Lightning in response. So that's the kind of start that this deck needs against an Elf deck to really get control of the board. I draw a fantastic card, Pyroclasm, and another Halimar Depths will put a like a CB on a mountain and then Jace Beleren up at the top. And here I'm in an okay spot. I have a Call to Mind, which can always bring back a Pyroclasm or Burst Lightning. It can also bring me on, even as early as next turn, to a Preordain. However, with a Pyroclasm in hand, I can force him to hopefully overextend his board position, since almost all of his guys are dinky little 2 toughness and 1 toughness guys, even with the Lords. And for example, if he has a 2 toughness Elf and an Elvish Archdruid, a Pyroclasm still wipes the whole board. So my turn. I untap, draw my Jace Beleren off the top, and I use it targeting myself only, it looks like. And here's a spot I'm not sure if this is correct. In fact, I think in the moment I wasn't sure if it was correct, and going back, I think it's correct here to +2 him, because the Droga Tree Speaker might only be a 1 power guy, which can't get through to Jace Beleren, but giving him an extra card is not the worst thing in the world with a Pyroclasm in hand, and this stops him from going Elvish Archdruid and kill your Jace, because my hand has absolutely no card drawing left in it, aside from a Call to Mind, and I don't want to have to use it on a Preordain or anything of the sort. So yeah, here he goes Droga Warcaller, as expected. He plays a Lord. His deck has so many of them, and now he has an opportunity to attack with his Droga Tree Speaker and kill Jace Beleren. And that is actually fairly dismal for me, because as you can see, there's no 4C, no CBon, no Preordain. I do believe there's a CBon on the top of my deck. But if you see here, he does open himself up to a Pyroclasm with the Warcaller and the 2 little men there. So we'll see what ends up happening here. I untap, oh, can't even really see it. Pyroclasm, kill the whole team. I drew a Flash Freeze. It wasn't a CBon, it was a Flash Freeze, which actually makes Jace Beleren even more important, because I'm very disappointed watching this video again the second time and seeing that play there. Do not be afraid to +2 your Jace. It's a really, really strong card. It is one that if you have in play, and you'll notice a correlation between having Jace in play and activating it and winning games, because the more cards you draw with it, the more overwhelming your advantage is. Here I cast Preordain, scry away 2 lands, and play a land. That's very unfortunate, although if you notice, it is now my 6th land drop. And the board is almost empty. There are 2 1/1s on the opponent's side. He now has 3 cards in hand after his draw for the turn, and the board, the life totals are 20 to 20. Often by this stage, if you're at anything above an Alpha Strike away from death, you're in good shape usually against this deck, since they just have no reach whatsoever except for Vengevines. And I haven't seen any from this guy yet. So my turn, untap, Preordain, scry away the island and the to keep a Sea Beyond, cast Sea Beyond obviously. Here there's a choice. I decided to go with playing Pyromancer Ascension and a land and leaving up Flash Freeze mana. There's a Preordain in the graveyard already, so a Preordain triggers the Ascension, and getting it out right now is optimal. He untaps, taps 5 for Acidic Slime, and makes me feel really good about having Flash Freeze in hand. Acidic Slime is one of the few cards that punish you for playing Pyromancer Ascension out early. If that audio sounds off, it is because iMovie is retarded. Okay, I untap, take 3, go down to 15 off, obviously first, and I draw a very, very useful, I must say, Lightning Bolt. Preordain triggers Ascension, that's the first quest counter. Scry down another Ascension, and a land to the bottom. And I am rewarded with a Burst Lightning for my troubles, which if you can check the graveyard, I believe there was a Burst Lightning in there from the first